Hello and welcome. My name is Ryan Beck, Senior Developer with Magic Software, and this presentation is to discuss Magic XPI as an integration platform and its capabilities to integrate Agile to SAP. First, a little bit about who we are. Magic Software has been around for over 30 years. You can look us up on the NASDAQ at MGIC. We cover over 50 countries with 15 worldwide offices and have over 2,500 global partners and millions of end users. Magic offers two platforms that are metadata driven, and today we're going to focus on the integration platform. The Magic XPI integration platform allows you to visually create data flows in a code-free way. It includes 65 pre-built adapters and connectors to enterprise systems and information standards. The simplified approach allows you to more easily and quickly build, deploy, and maintain integrations, reducing cost and creating a quicker return on investment. What we're going to do now is a live demonstration of using Magic XPI to integrate item master and bill of material from Agile to SAP. In this scenario, Agile will be the master of record and information will be synced over to SAP in real time. So I'm already logged into SAP. I'm going to go ahead and log into my Agile environment. And I'm going to create a new item. So I'm going to go to item and the class type is going to be a part. We'll give it a interesting name. We'll call it red bike and set the required values on it. We'll call the description of the item big red bike. And down at the bottom, I will fill in the unit of measure as inches. So this is our new item. We're also going to make it a bill of material, but before I can do that, I'm going to go ahead and add it to a change order. And of course, since we're working with a BOM, it's going to be an engineering change order. So C00099 will be our change order number. And I'm actually going to select our target system. Magic XPI can integrate to a lot of back-end systems. This particular one is going to be SAP. So here's our cover page for the change order. We'll go ahead and fill in the required items there and move on to the affected items. So the affected item is red bike. We're going to go ahead and make it a bill of material with a couple other items. So I'll drag over a few components and we'll set quantities on them. So P0002 will require 5 and P0076 will require 2. And then on the top, I simply need to set a revision number for our bike. So it'll be A, and the life cycle phase will be production. Also, if I go to SAP, it doesn't exist in SAP yet because we haven't released the change order. So it is not an item in SAP quite yet. So we're going to go ahead and go through the workflow to release this. So we'll assign a workflow. And Magic XPI is essentially subscribed to Agile Content Services, Agile ACS, which will notify us whenever a certain event happens. And what we're subscribed to is going to be the release of the item. We can obviously subscribe to anything we want to know, but the release is actually the step that tells everything that we've completed the change review and that it's okay to go ahead and sync this information to SAP. So I'm going to bypass all of the change control boards and all the bureaucracy, and we'll go ahead and release the item. And after a couple seconds, Agile ACS is going to export this as a standard XML file that Agile can create natively and drop it in a network FTP folder for Magic to pick up. Magic XPI is going to then integrate this into SAP R3 by calling RFC and BAPI calls as needed to interact with the SAP side. So after a couple seconds, if I give it enough time, I can see if the item exists, and it doesn't quite yet. The integration runs about as fast as ACS will release. About every minute or so, any data can come across. Okay, so the item was created. We go ahead and zoom in on it. And the item will contain, of course, all the same information that we entered in on the Agile side. So it has the same description, the same unit measure, the same item code, and everything. Also, we can go ahead and see if the bill of material was created. So we'll go ahead and access the bill of material. And we do see that the bill of material synced to the other side using the components that we said. So we have the unit of measure, or we have the quantities, the unit of measure, the component items, and of course it was hard-coded as an alternate BOM1. So Magic XPI synced this over on the release of the item from Agile, and in doing so, it's transparent to the end user. As the PLM expert or as the SAP user, I am simply doing what I would normally do throughout my day, is accessing items and releasing change orders. There's no additional steps they need to do to trigger the integration to go across. It's basically transparent to them. And that's because there's no software that needs to be installed on their desktop. There's no software to be installed on Agile or SAP either. Magic XPI is sitting on a Windows server, on a VM, and it's doing server-to-server integration between the two sides. So it's talking to RFCs on SAP, and it's talking to Agile content service, either through web services or through XML file exports. So it's going through the correct APIs on both sides of those systems and basically creating a single point of integration and orchestration of the data moving from place to place. And what I'm going to do now is go a little bit behind the scenes and show how an integration like that was accomplished and how easy it is. So if I go ahead and open up what's called the Magic XPI Studio, this is something the end user actually never really sees. It's the development environment where we create the relationship between the systems that we're connecting. So on one side we have Agile, on the other side we have SAP, and we design the information flow in between them in a metadata approach. This is a very visual tool for designing how our data is going to flow from one system to the other. These icons you see over on the right of the screen are called steps in the flow, and they're made up of these components that come over from the left side. And these components are adapters and gateways that give us access to different systems we want, such as SAP, or such as web services, or such as XML. And they've got pre-built libraries that know how to access all these systems and basically give us connectivity to them, give us authentication with the other system, and also give us an approved API into those systems. But they also know how to do schema discovery and learn how to discover exactly what can help you here in the studio. So for instance, if I want to go ahead and work with our friend SAP, this is a flow that ran earlier to create our parts. So maybe I want to add on to that. I could simply drag a component from the repository over here onto the flow and drop it and say OK. And it's going to go ahead and add a new SAP step. And I could go and call basically any type of IDOC or RFC that's available on the server. And I can browse and I can actually browse all of the different ones available, or I could paste in the name of one I know. So just to take a little shortcut to save some time, I'll look at one that we just ran a moment ago. So if I will go into the add material component, this is the one that ran to add the red byte component. So this is the group it ran, this is the actual RFC it ran. So I'll say OK, and it sort of zooms in and discovers the schema of that BAPI. So we can really support any, or of that RFC, so we can really support any API on the system. So we have some very, very simple mappings. From the left side, we have our data coming from Agile. From the right side, we have our data coming from, they're going into SAP. And we just simply click and create the relationship we want from one side to the other. So if I wanted to bring across this field, I would just bring it over and map it just like that. And that would basically send data from that field over to the one on the other side. In this case, we mapped the material description. So you see a line coming across that says the description from our information over there is basically going to our description in SAP. And all of the fields that are available in this RFC, of course, can be discovered by expanding the different groups and what you want to access. Thank you for watching our presentation. For more information, visit our website at magicsoftware.com.